Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of PCs and EVs. I had some technical mishaps with the beginning of this video, and so my head may be cut off in some clips. It's because I am finally getting back into the swing of things and am forgetting to make sure that my framing is correct. So yeah, some rookie mistakes in this, but please bear with me as we relearn how to do YouTube. It's been about over 100 days since I last posted a full-length video. And surprise, surprise, we're actually working on a PC hardware video instead of actually doing an EV review again. Don't worry, we'll get back to it. My PC business locally has taken off significantly recently. But anyways, long story short, in today's video, we're going to be upgrading for those keen-eyed of you among us. You'll recognize this computer. This is my sister's computer in the Athena P1 from Gamdias. And they sent over their new Gamdias Chione M4 360 cooler for us to swap into it. Now, I didn't just want this to be a video of me installing a cooler and being done. So, I've got a little bit of a scenario on how I'm going to test how much better it is than the Corsair A500. And the way that we're going to determine, obviously, if that makes a difference is we're going to run that 10-minute stress test and see if there's a huge difference in scores or if there's just a minor difference in scores. I've done some testing already and seen that the difference in scores on a single run is only about 100 to 150 points. So if there's a bigger swing than about 150 points, then we can probably attribute that to the heat from the graphics card heating up the cooler and therefore making it perform significantly worse. Without any further ado, let's kind of get into the benchmarks. Let's see how this did, and we'll go from there. I'm also going to be going over how to install this cooler in this video, so we'll show it all. And I know I said this before, but big thank you to Gamdias for sending both the case and now the cooler as well over for us to review. It's been a pleasure working with you guys, and I look forward to continuing this. All right, looks like the results of the test with the Corsair A500 cooler, which is what it had on here before, without running Furmark, are 28,375. Now, let's launch Furmark, and we shall try again. What I forgot to mention before is that we're also going to be allowing about 10 minutes in between runs to allow the cooler and system to cool down, just to make sure that there's no bias there, but based on like which set we did first or anything. All right, so due to some minor production mishaps, basically we got a 27,730 score with the Corsair A500, and that was with the graphics card running Furmark. The system was quite loud, and that's just kind of how it is with the A500. Now, I've gone ahead and unboxed the Chione M4 cooler, and it comes with Aeolus M3 fans. Now, these fans are a slight revision in only to the cables that attach to them from the last time I looked at them and from the standalone pack that I've previously reviewed. These fans right here have both your standard 3-pin ARGB header as well as your standard 4-pin PWM fan header. Great job on that, guys. I really think that was an important addition, and I'm glad you made that change. I know I and a couple other content creators had recommended that you guys try and stop using proprietary hubs. But anyways, we're now going to get this cooler mounted on there. It came very decently packaged and everything. We're going to get the fans mounted to the cooler. I did remark on the fact that it's got a pump in the tubing instead of being in the block, on the CPU block, where a lot of Asetek pumps are. So I know this isn't an Asetek product. This is pretty similar to a lot of the cheaper AIOs that you can find on the market. Now, as far as AIOs with a screen, from what I've seen, this one's got a pretty decent price. I'll have to review when I give my conclusion. but I was very happy with these fans the last time I used them. These are actually the same fans that you saw this entire video at the front and rear of this computer. I am unsure at the moment if I'll be able to tie them all together, so we'll have to look into that. But I'm excited to get this upgraded and running much, much, much quieter. That's for sure. Now, I will say some of the noise of the system isn't going to be fixed by this, and that's because this is a OEM 6800 XT. It was designed to run in Alienware cases, and so noise really wasn't a concern. Keeping the thing cool was. So the fans are relatively small, and because of that, they run at a higher RPM than they could if they were larger fans, to maintain the same temperature parameter, obviously. Now, I don't necessarily expect this cooler to completely minimize the behavior of shooting to 95 degrees Celsius. What I do expect it to solve, though, is the loss in performance over time, which this system can score around 28,700 points in a single run with the Corsair A500, and after a 10-minute run, loses about 400 points in Cinebench R23, and in a 10-minute run with Furmark running on the GPU, compared to that single run, loses about 1,000 points. Also, single run with Furmark running is only about a loss of about 150 to 200 points. So, you definitely lose a lot, and that cooler was definitely pushed to its limits as far as what it could handle, and it really wasn't keeping up. But now let's switch to this one and see if we're able to maintain our boosting behavior, higher power draw, and ultimately get a better score. All right, so we've got the system here. We've got all our cables run. Now I just need to get it all wired up properly, and we'll work on figuring that out now. So here's our pump one. I'm gonna plug that in to the CPU fan header, and then the rest of them I'm gonna probably plug into like CPU opt or something. So I gotta walk around my table to get that done. Hopefully that stayed fed through. It did not. All right, yeah, you guys can make fun of that cabling if you'd like. Here, I'll give you another look. Not great, not horrid. About as much as I care to do. Now let's get it plugged back in and let's boot her up. Interesting, I didn't realize that could rotate about 45 degrees. Not sure why it would be able to. But let's go download the software and see what we can do with it. Actually, we'll worry about software after we do our testing. Okay, no, we're not doing that after. For terms of consistency, I probably should, but you guys are all going to be just looking at this upside down screen the whole time. Can I fix it? Oh. There we go. It just rotates. Actually, that's a great idea, Gamdias. I know you guys can't really see the top of the case, right? No. But the RGB fans have been going this whole time. I do have to clean this side panel again. We'll get to that. I'll do that off screen. But I do want to quickly run one time. We're idling much quieter. Everything about this is running quieter. And we're getting more power out of it. And the reason that I'd chosen a 10-minute stress test is to make sure that we give it time for it to heat soak for long-term thermals. But for short bursty workloads, you definitely get more performance out of this. Yeah, that's a 29,382. That's another 700 points higher than our one-time bursting workloads before. And that's because we don't throttle at all. I know you guys have been here a while, but my voice, I lost my voice this week. I went to a Bruins game. They did really well. But yeah, we're going to start the 10-minute test now, and I'll keep an eye on what thermals go to, and we'll let the score decide how much better this is. And this is without FurMark running on the graphics card, just for reference. All right, yeah, so after 10 minutes of testing, this thing loses 50 points, 100 points. Now we're going to try the much harder test with running FurMark as well as the CPU bench. But like, it didn't even hit 90 degrees Celsius. So I got to let FurMark get burned in a little bit. That is an impressive feat to still get into the 29,000s, which is higher than this ever got by like 400 points. And to do it over a 10-minute stress test when that thing can only sustain like 27,700 or something. Or maybe low 28,000. Impressive, Gamdias. I do still have to get the software installed so I can get the screen working, and we'll get some close-ups of that once I have it done. I realized after looking back over some stuff that audio testing isn't really going to be something I can do in this video, so I will say it is significantly quieter than the Corsair A500. Also, after the test with FurMark running on the graphics card and Cinebench R23 running on the processor, we got a score of 28,843, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is higher than you could get at all with the air cooler, even on single pass testing. So I am extremely happy with that. We did also notice slightly higher peak power draw and definitely higher sustained power draw on this system. Now that we've upgraded the cooler. Overall, I think it's a great cooler. Let's get the software downloaded and see what we can do in software. I'm going to frame you guys a little bit closer and so that we can take a look actually at the cooler itself instead of just talking performance numbers. I know it's kind of hard for you guys to actually see the screen itself, so I've got you guys pretty well centered on it. I'm going to go download the software, and then we'll start going through the changes. Okay, so it looks like we can have it see the temperature of the processor itself, it looks like. Yeah, so it's got CPU temps itself. Around the ring, you can see the speed of the fan and the pump. And yeah, I think this actually looks pretty good. There's not a ton of options here. It's just this one static screen, but you can change a couple of things on there, like whether you have it show just with a bar what the fan speeds are, or with just blocks at where they're at. Okay. Obviously, you can set between Celsius and Fahrenheit as well. But yeah, I think the cooler looks great. Pricing on the cooler itself is about $130. And, you know, for how it performs on this Ryzen 9 7900X, I think that's actually pretty great. Definitely outperforms the really garbage Corsair AIO. Or not AIO, CPU cooler. Also, it's much brighter than it looks like from that lower angle. We're going to zoom out. It's just that you can't really see the fans up top from that angle. So I definitely showed it from that. Now this would play really nice with like white motherboard components and stuff like that, because then you get the fan RGB reflecting on it. However, I do kind of wish they made a white version of this cooler, as well as this case and these fans, because that would look absolutely insane. Overall, though, I would recommend this cooler. Just know what you're getting into. You got to download the software from Google Drive, which is really not great. But overall, I love the cooler. It looks pretty good. It definitely passes for about $130. Sure, it's not a fully customizable LCD screen, which I definitely do hold against it. You went and put a screen on there and then didn't make it anything that I can customize, but hey, you've still got a screen on there that shows you your CPU temperature. So I can't really get that angry at it. So yeah, long story short, I definitely would recommend that cooler. And if you guys have any questions or anything like that, make sure to reach out. I am going to link this cooler down below to both Newegg and potentially Amazon if it's listed there. Also, as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more content in the future, and comment, like I said, if you have any questions about anything.